Welcome to Second Listen Saturday on the Parenting Roundabout podcast, where we share some fun moments from a past episode for your weekend listening pleasure. Look for new episodes every Monday through Friday.
Today we're talking about whether it's important to teach kids how to apologize and actually mean it when they do. So there was an article in U.S. News about this, and it kind of talked about the ages that kids can actually say they're sorry and mean it, which are not the same
Yeah.
age. But what I liked about it was it talked about how making amends is more important than actually saying the words "I'm sorry." I mean, it's still important to say that, but that you can teach a kid how to kind of make things right, and they'll understand that better than just mouthing the words "I'm sorry." So I like that about that article. What did you think?
Yeah, I really like that approach. I mean, I think it's something that, like, I think I've tried to do, but never verbalize exactly what it is I'm doing. But I, in addition to saying, okay, say sorry to your brother.
Right.
Like, okay, well, so now what are you going to do to make the situation better, or make amends, I guess? How are you going to show that you didn't mean what you did? So,
right. Or how are you going to fix the problem that you
is it
caused?
restitution? Is that the same kind of thing?
Yeah.
I think that's what they mean. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was something like really big in schools at one point, was restitution.
Yeah.
I think that's, as long as it's meaningful to the person receiving it too.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's something you kind of have to teach kids too, like your version of "I'm sorry," or, fixing the problem has to match with the other person's need, otherwise it doesn't work.
Yeah. And yet, in the real adult world, how often do we follow those rules? I say I'm sorry all the time, whether I mean it or not, just because it seems like the socially correct thing to say.
Right.
And sometimes it ends a conversation that I don't want to be in, So it's like, okay, I'm sorry.
Right.
But when I'm certainly online all the time, you get the non-sorry. So, I think there's a degree, there's sometimes where I want to hear the words. I really don't care if they mean it or not. I just want to hear the dang words with my kids. I just want some acknowledgement that there has been an infraction.
Right.
That's all I'm going to get.
And that kind of
restitution would be nice, but at least as an acknowledgement, apologize.
Right. I mean, that's the case where they're saying the words, and even if they don't mean it, you're aware that this is a problem, right?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yeah, I often in my house, for my personal needs, do not get appropriate awareness that there's a problem. I get the quietness until mom calms down. So sometimes, it's not always bad to just say it, whether you mean it or not. How do we teach our kids all the permutations of this? I don't know.
Well, and then there's the whole don't say sorry and then add a but in it. I'm sorry, but you're still wrong.
Yeah, not the same.
Take responsibility for and acknowledging that you messed up.
Yeah. And then there's just the real bad sorry that I would like to teach my kids. Well, I say I would like to teach them not to do because I feel it's bad when I do it. But then on the other hand, sometimes I tell them to do it specifically of just, well, I guess as I said before, using it as a way to I just kind of compulsively say I'm sorry preemptively all the time. Do you guys ever do that? Just
isn't that the Canadian way?
Yes, exactly. The Canadian sorry.
Canadians
I'm
are
sorry.
famous.
I find myself slipping into that quite a lot just because it seems like a self-deprecating way to go about getting something that you want.
Mhm.
You know, like I'll say, oh, if you have to ask a question, say, oh, I'm sorry to bother you about this, but,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
even why are you
Yeah.
apologizing? There's absolutely no need. You have every right to ask this question, but it's sort of like a nice, you know, I may be annoying you by this, and I want to acknowledge that up front.
Yes.
And I often have people tell me, stop saying you're sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. And it's like, it's just sort of a social nicety.
Yeah.
And I do find myself advising my kids to do that sometimes. Or I say, you know, tell them I'm sorry, but my annoying mother wanted me to ask this.
Yeah.
So I am like apologizing even in conversations I'm not in.
Well, it's preempting.
By proxy.
Preempting. By
Yes,
proxy.
Apology by proxy. And that
I
gets
think
a
it's
little
it's kind of
ridiculous.
like lying and white lies.
Mhm.
You know, there's so many levels of
Yeah.
truth to, of truth to an apology, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's the totally didn't mean it, like just trying to get my mom off my back
Right.
apology, and then there's the like, okay, I know I did something wrong, but I'm just barely gonna admit it.
Yes.
Or there's, you know, sort of the true, like, I feel remorse and I'm going to apologize and I'm going to make things right.
Yes.
And, you know, and then you could maybe even go beyond that and continue to feel bad about it
Mm-hmm.
when it's
Mhm.
over. So there's a whole spectrum.
Yes.
And it's very nuanced and hard to teach a kid that, I guess.
Yeah. And maybe you shouldn't in some cases. Maybe we should not pass that particular neurosis on to the next generation.
Right.
Just go and be you. Even if it makes taking your brother's truck. Go ahead.
I have to say I was lucky with my kids, especially when they were little. Maybe they were just far apart enough in age or something but they've been very good about, you know, sharing and not fighting and
Mm-hmm.
You
that
know
sort of
why?
thing.
Because
Why?
your oldest is a girl.
Ah.
Yeah. She takes on the more, I don't know. It's a different role. I think when the
Yeah.
roles are reversed, I don't know what it is. I don't want to be.
It's like a social maturity thing,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
Like I
Because-
never thought about it that way, but she's always been really good with him. I mean,
Yeah.
she's always been kind of able to just not only get along with him, but also help him through getting along with others.
Oh yeah. Whereas my son acts like younger than my daughter sometimes, most of the time, and it's like they're the same age and they're having an all-out war.
Right. And they're like 5 years apart.
Yeah, they're 5 years apart. No big brother nurturing from him. Man, it's like the school of hard knocks. Yeah, I had to suffer, so do you.
Oh, man.
So
Yeah.
no, she's a pretty tough gal, and there's a reason why.
There you go.
Well, I had a sort of a different situation with my kids in that, you know, they both had developmental disabilities and delays that make understanding abstract things really difficult. And it's sort of
Mhm.
like if you didn't mean to do it, then it's not your fault. But sometimes you do have to take responsibility. But sometimes there was just even a lack of awareness of what had been done. So it's like it's done without malice. So then do you insist on an apology or do you
Mhm.
explain, let me sit you down and tell you all the things that you did wrong so that you know why you have to feel terrible and apologize to this person.
Right.
You know, you don't want to do that. You don't want to put that on them, and yet the other person is still deserving of some acknowledgement. It's really complicated. It's still kind of complicated now that they're in their adults. That they're adults. I still have to sometimes explain to them why what they did was not right, and the other person may have expected an apology, and
Mhm.
it feels terrible because I don't want them to feel bad. It's like,
Yeah.
here's all the reasons you should feel bad about yourself. So, yeah. I don't know. It seems like a lot of people in the real world maybe have trouble with abstractions too.
Yes, I think you're right.
With no good excuse.
Yeah.
But when there is an good excuse, yeah, it gets a little complicated.
Yeah, it sure does.
And even how do you apologize for something that you have no awareness that you did?
Right.
Other than just, insincerely say the words. So that may be the top of the... The ultimate goal in my house is to learn how to just parrot expressions of remorse, whether you understand why or not.
Right. Sometimes that's the way it's gotta be.
Mm-hmm.